Vegas and welcome to Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. I'm here with my brother right here, Robert Farmer, the director over at Team Challenge, and Bryson Shampoo.
Yes.
Right? I love that name. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's the first time he's going to be on. But Robert, I just want to start off by saying if you missed the car show, you're crazy. Team Challenge put on one of the best car shows I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I was just stuck. I stayed by the truck with the two cars from Fast and Furious. I couldn't believe that. It was, oh my God! But wow, Robert, just talk about how the show went, man. It was a home run. I mean,
yeah, it's good. It was our second annual car show here, blocking off 9th Street in front of our center. It's a great event because whenever you can attract many people to come and see what God's doing at the Teen Challenge Center, it's always good. Good stuff happens, especially when there's you're in the midst of greatness, like Barry McGuire. He spoke a little bit about his little personal testimony and the vision for Teen Challenge. All the other people that came together. It's just great people make great events, and we are blessed to be surrounded by a bunch of great people who like to partner with Teen Challenge. And if it weren't for the people that we're surrounded with, we wouldn't have had a great event like we did yesterday. And I was just blown away. It was definitely the best car show we've had yet. I believe, God, that next year will be even greater, and we're just going to keep going on and rolling on with the vision. And one day we're going to block off Las Vegas Boulevard and have up to 500 plus cars with street vendors, with all kinds of food trucks and everything. One day, one of our Teen Challenge annual car shows is going to be that big. But we're just continuing the progress and the growth. It was a great event, so we're just coming down from that the mountaintop experience of having everything go great together.
Yeah, it was incredible. Let me tell you something. Team Challenge is huge, but if people don't get involved in Team Challenge, you're going to be left off the bandwagon. Y'all are doing big, and the people y'all have behind you.
Oh, yeah.
It's just huge.
Yeah.
They believe in what y'all are doing.
Yeah. Back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s, one of our biggest backers was Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan, he had, they purchased the castle in Riverside for us, a castle. We've seen a couple people just like him, Ronald Reagan, or whoever God brings us locally. Here, there's so much potential. There's casinos. There's all these. There's a lot of people who, if they were looking for a good place to pour their money into or to invest into, Teen Challenge would definitely be that. One of our visions that we've had that we vocalized during our car show was right next door to our center. The property is coming up for sale. And if we purchase that property, we can. And right now we have an 18-bed men's center. If we purchase that property, we can probably get it up to anywhere from 40 to 80 beds in that program, and then turn the center that we have currently into a sober living environment option to transition guys out of the program, or give guys another option who are tied down with finances or with families where they can't necessarily commit to live in a program for a year. Maybe have a sober living option to where they can still have the accountability that Teen Challenge provides, but also work on the side and pay a low rent, and then, like I said, still have the accountability that Teen Challenge offers. So we're looking at that building. It's probably going to be $1.2, maybe $1.5 million. But I know that God's good, and He's big. He's bigger than that property. He owns more money than that property. So let's just bring the right people around us to kind of make that possible. And if you own that property across the street, right next to 720 South 9th Street, donate it to Teen Challenge. We can do great things with it. Wow. Yeah, that's my sales pitch.
Wow. Oh, wow. Man, it's incredible. I'm telling you, I'm blown away. I said it yesterday. David gave me a little chance to talk after he spoke, and it was just amazing. I got to talk for a couple of minutes, and I was just testifying about what you did and changing it from Friday, and I was telling him about you made a miracle Monday and how it starts my week off in the right direction. And I was like, It was just incredible. Bryson, it's the first time we've had you here. So we want you to testify, man.
Yeah, he's going to be the miracle this Monday, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You tell us about your journey, who you are, where you come from a little bit.
All right, well, my name is Bryce Shampoo. I'm the baby of 5. I'm born and raised here in Vegas. I'm a native, and it's just a lot of things have happened. I was actually raised in the church, going to church, ICLV. That's kind of where my family went. My parents got divorced when I was 5, so I kind of lived like in the church, but then also like didn't go to church. So I lived like kind of a balance between the church and then the world at the same time. I've been walking the fence for a long time, ever since I can remember. I've been just walking that fence on, okay, I know what's right, but this feels good.
Right.
So, it's just that understanding of, really trying to figure out who I am, who I want to be. And, I've come to realize that it's more so who God wants me to be and who He's going to allow me to be. But yeah, I'm the baby of 5, so I've always kind of had that baby initiative, I guess you could say, that kind of like, always liked being the center of attention, so to say, just kind of being out there and doing weird stuff just to, for laughs and stuff. But more importantly, where I kind of came in, Teen Challenge and where that all kind of fits in is I've done more drugs since I'm 21, by the way. I'm only 21. I'm the youngest one in the program here in Las Vegas right now. It's a very fortunate thing for me to be able to have this opportunity to change my life around at such a young age. But it was scary for me at first, but now that I kind of, this is day 10 for me in the program, day 10, so, that's,
you're a rookie, you a new.
Yeah, I'm new, I'm the baby of the program, I'm one of the newer guys that are in the program, and, I'm just kind of getting the feel for everything, and,
So Bryson, tell us a little bit about, like, your lowest low.
My lowest low? Alright, well, I started smoking marijuana when I was 12 years old, and from there I entered into a couple of pills and stuff like that in my freshman year of high school, but that doesn't even compare to what I've recently gone through. I did more drugs since I was 20 years old on than any other time in my life. My lowest low, I would have to say, is I was sitting there smoking some crystal meth, and me and my friend, we just got to an altercation. I honestly can't even remember what it was about anymore, what it was really about, but we just got into this altercation, and we just were yelling at each other and maybe break down. I was just thinking about smoking and doing nothing else, and David Davis, the founder of
Teen Challenge here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, here in Las Vegas, he hit me up at 3 a.m. And that's how I kind of got into it. But I was just smoking a lot of drugs and, snorting cocaine when it was around. I didn't really have a party favor that I preferred. I just kind of did whatever was there. I never really messed with heroin or anything like that. But crystal meth was the thing. My dad actually did it when I was younger. And the reason why I first even attempted or even tried it was to kind of understand why he would choose that over his family. That's kind of the excuse, or what I came to understand why I even tried it. But I found out why. I found out why. It's a very it hypes you up. It makes you feel like you're on cloud 9 until you realize that you're beneath the floor. And I saw the wear and tear on my body. I'm a skinny guy, and when you lose 10, 15 pounds, when you're skinny, it looks even worse. And you just see the sag on your face, you see your ribs, different things like that. And,
we call them chicken heads in Chicago.
Yeah, chicken heads, one thing is, though, that I've learned to accept my past, because I've been forgiven for that. One thing that I've realized is since I was raised in the church, I've known about Jesus and God for a long time. And I love to sing worship and do all these things and do all that stuff growing up. And my dad was great example for that. Singing worship in churches ever since I was like 7 years old. I'd be singing worship and people would be turning to me and stuff. But the thing is that I have been made new. God has forgiven me, and He has recreated me because I have given Him the authority to have lordship over my life.
You sing, or what do you play?
Yeah, I sing a little bit.
Didn't I tell you the gift that He gave me? God gave me a little gift, and I was like, He can sing. He just told me that. He said He can sing. You can really sing too.
Yeah,
that's what He told me.
Wow. That's my gift from God. That's what
He told me.
Not being embarrassed to just make a fool out of myself at times, be goofy, or
that's why I want to just tell you a little something. I want to scare you. You got a Christian band that's going to be very popular one day.
Thank you.
You're going to be one of the most popular Christian singers in the country.
Thank you. All glory to Him. But I just want to be used. I'm a servant. That's why that's why I really feel like I was called the Teen Challenge, was to serve more than anything and find my new identity in Christ.
Robert, I like him. You like him? No, I like him, Robert.
I only bring the guys I like.
Well, I guess I'm going to
All right, so Bryson, real quick, we know that you traded in being the youngest of 5 to the youngest of 15. Here at Teen Challenge. But kind of share a little bit what God's been doing the last 10 days in the program, and where you see God taking you.
Wow. It's easier for me to talk about what happened there than what God's doing right now because it's just so big in my life. I see the world for something so different now. I don't have that baggage, that weight on my shoulders anymore that I've been carrying around for my entire life. It's just, it's amazing. It's just an amazing opportunity. I went from broken to him being able to build some steps for me to step on and be able to love myself for the first time in a long time. We were actually on Wednesday night. It was like my 4th or 5th day in the program, and we actually went back to. We were watching this video from ICLP, the youth pastor, and he was just on fire with God. You could just see the Spirit through him. And he said, why can't we love ourselves? We're supposed to love ourselves as we love our neighbors. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. But the question is, how can we love our neighbors when we don't even love ourselves? So that really touched me and that really hit me. So I realized I need to start allowing God to rebuild that foundation in my life and stop trying to be the construction worker in my own life. So what He's been doing is reshaping how I've been looking at life, how I've been looking at myself, how I've been looking at others, how I've been looking at my family, how I've been looking at women on the street, how I've been looking at buildings and looking at things around me. I find myself wanting to work so much harder, not for my own ability or for my own self or my own needs, but because I'm trying to glorify God, most importantly. I'm the youngest, so I have the most energy naturally. I have the most energy naturally, so I can do the most, even though I am the youngest. I don't see it as a crutch. I don't see it as a weakness. I don't see it even as a band holding me down, because God is breaking those chains. That were once holding me. It's no longer holding me. I see it as an opportunity for me to get ahead of the game thus far. A lot of people, they're 40, 50 years old before they can even realize that, what they're doing is wrong. I've seen it on the streets. My dad and my stepmom and me, we used to live just up the street on East Charleston and Mojave. I saw a lot of stuff down there. It opened my eyes to the world and what it is capable of.
I know 2 things, Bryson, when you finish this program. You're going to finish it this time.
Oh, yeah.
I already see that.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be healthier, mentally and physically. And you're going to be so close to God. And He's going to make sure that this is God's spiritual general right here. So by the time you finish boot camp with Him, you're going to be close to God. I promise you that. And you're going to know your Bible. I'm sure you know it, but you're going to know it when Robert gets finished with it.
Honestly, I went to church for a lot of years, but I didn't get into the Word.
That's right.
I didn't get into the Word. I think I thought I knew Jesus and I thought I was close to Him until I realized that there was miles apart.
That's right.
You know, I was around Him. I knew of Him. He was the family friend. You know what I mean? He was the family friend that I would say a couple words to at the family parties. But I never really went up and introduced myself, you know, really did that. And I had my moments where we would have our clarity. I went to Hume Lake when I was in the youth group and stuff like that. Had an amazing experience. And I realized it's when I was in His Word, that's when that happened. But I didn't make that connection until recently.
Yeah.
And but now that I do, it's His Word is perfect. There's many different translations. There's many different versions of it, but it is perfect. That's why it is there. That's why it was the first book that was ever published, ever printed. You know, it was the first thing. It's the first thing I want to do in the morning. You know, it's the first thing. It's the first. And that's what we need to do. Just as God is supposed to be the first, we need to make Him first. We need to allow Him to be first, because He's already been made first.
I'm going to let Robert say some things, man, because I love Robert. Always fills me with the spirit, man, to start my week off. But I just want to say two things to you, Bryson. When I was sitting in prison and I was crying like a little BI every day, right? And they used to call up to my cell and say, man, if you don't stop crying, John, I'm so tired. You wasn't crying when you was out there on the street selling that dope. Why you crying now, bro? Because you got caught? Right? And I remember God told me two things. I used to have conversations with Him the first time in my life. I used to actually talk to Him. And He told me two things. He said, you are who you think you are. So whoever you want to be when I open up this gate, that's who you become. He said, Chris, act the part. If you want to be a father, act the part. If you want to be a husband, act the part. If you want to be a businessman, act the part. Conduct yourself the way you want people to look at you. And that's the one thing I see about Robert. Robert walks with God.
Yeah.
He conducts himself with God. His shoulders are back. He's proud of it. Robert just has a light off of him. He is God's voice here on this earth. And he carries himself like he's God's voice. When he's talks, we about to give him the floor. And listen to how he talks. That's God. That ain't even Robert. That's a voice coming through him.
Oh, yeah.
He forgets us. He has to stop himself. I've been talking for 15 because God will keep going. God will talk for the next day. Right? With that. Blessings, please.
There was one thing that Bryson really said, and that was what he was talking about. God made him new. And that's one thing that Team Challenge stands on. And that's 2 Corinthians 5:17. It says, therefore, if anyone's in Christ, he's a new creation. The old is gone, the new has come. And it's cool because, I mean, when we're talking about Miracle Mondays, it ain't Robert Mondays. It's Miracle Mondays because it's what God's doing. It's not what Robert's doing. It's, 10 days into the program, This is, you already see what God's been doing in His program, in His life. Wow. And so when we're talking about, God makes all things new, we talk about how, He turns someone who's addicted to whatever, meth, alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever it is, and He makes them new. That's what's different about Teen Challenge. And the biggest difference, and the best difference, is because we don't believe that once a drug addict, always a drug addict. We don't believe that just because your mistakes don't define you. You are who God says you are. And what God makes new, no one can undo. Amen. And it says, Jesus says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And I'm telling you that the reason that Teen Challenge is right there is because we're shaking we're shaking the walls of hell. When we're rescuing, when God's rescuing people like Bryson here, 10 days out of it, and making his life new, that's God doing the work. And I'm telling you that the devil is getting nervous because we're coming at him. Wow. And using Teen Challenge as a program to rescue people from addiction. I'm telling you, rescuing people from addiction. There's no other better crusade. And I'm telling you that the reason that Teen Challenge is going to be around forever is because God's the one fueling it. And all we do at Teen Challenge, me and you, I just step out of the way of God doing His work. You see, we provide an atmosphere for God to work. And God does the work. He does the hard stuff. He does the heavyweight. He lifts the heavyweight. He's the one who does the changes. There's no secret formula. There's no secret answer. Well, I will tell you, there is one secret answer, and it's Jesus. And whenever I love to come here and make this into Miracle Monday, but you see, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you can be the next miracle. But all you have to do is drop to your knees, and all you have to do is it says, seek. It says, seek God. Matthew 7 says, seek and you'll find. Ask and the answer will be given to you. Knock and the door will be open. Revelation talks about Jesus is there knocking on the door of your heart. And He says, anyone who opens the door, I will come in and I'll dine with you. If you're lonely, if you're depressed, if you're hungry, I'm telling you, Jesus is right there, and He wants to come in and dine with you, to fellowship with you. If you're lonely, He's the one who's going to comfort you. He's the one who, I'm telling you, we just read, like a couple weeks ago, we celebrated the Easter resurrection, and I'm telling you, when He was nailed on the cross was His invitation to come and give Him a hug. His arms were wide open on the cross. His arms were wide open to welcome all. Notice when we read scriptures, like the staple scripture of a Christian walk, or whatever you want to call it, one of the first things you ever learn is John 3:16. Yep. Is how, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him will have everlasting life. Whoever believes in Him will have everlasting life. And it keeps going. It says that God didn't send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through Him. But if you don't believe in the name of the Son, then you stand condemned already. I'm telling you, there's people out there running around. This is Las Vegas, Sin City. There's people in the city. The city is full of people. We welcome many a tourist a month to come here and do their sins. They have the whole slogan, "What's done in Vegas stays in Vegas." I say that that's just a lie from the devil. It's what's done in Vegas is judged in heaven. Amen. There's no. I said this the other day. That now that there's like Google Chrome has an incognito button to where it will hide your search engine. There's no incognito with God. Like He sees everything. There's nowhere you can hide. The Psalms say, "Where can I hide from Your presence? If I go to heaven, You are there. If you go to the depths of hell, You are there." There's nowhere for you to run from God. And you see, the one thing that recovery, the one thing that the humankind as a nature, all we're doing is we start out running from God. Yeah. Until we find out that God is the only true answer to our life's questions, until we truly find out that all that we've ever been seeking was Him in the first place. I'm telling you, you look at it, there's all these other, you say other religions, but I'm telling you, there's truth when you find out the real truth. And there's no disputing it. There's no disputing it. There's a reason why the Bible is what it is today. And it's because God has let it persevere throughout the nations. It's never been proven wrong. It's a historical artifact. It's the #1 bestseller of the world all times. And I'm telling you that it's done in the most translations of any other book around. I'm telling you, there's a reason why so many people believe in this God that we believe in. That Jesus who we celebrated on Easter. This Jesus who we celebrate every Christmas. This Jesus whose life and whose time literally revolves around this guy's birth. Yeah. Mind blow. Hello, let's go. Come on now. That's right. It's quit running from God. There's the story of Jonah. We know this, right? Jonah was running from God. A big old whale came and swallowed him up. Right. Yeah. Quit running from God. And when you're done running, find people who will speak into your life. Tell you who you were created to be. That Jeremiah 29:11 says that, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." It says, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future. And then I will take the messed up life that you messed up and start putting the pieces back together and showing you the hope and the plan and the future that I have for you. 10 days into the program.
Come on now.
I'm telling you, God does crazy miracles. If you in your life need a miracle, well, I'll tell you, I know someone who does miracles. He walks on water. He came back from the dead. There's these miracles that you're looking for in your life. They're open. They're waiting for you.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so amazing, man. I was kind of talking yesterday under the tent. I was kind of talking about that. And my thing was, you're right about, if you need a miracle, Jesus, he's the person that you're looking for. And what I was kind of talking about was trying to beat God. I can't beat God. No, I tried.
There was
He brought me to my knees.
I forget who it was. It was a poet. It was a rapper. He said, "Your arms are too small to box with God." Yeah, you're too small. You can try to avoid him, but I'm telling you, if God wanted to be in your way, He's going to smack dab, stop you in front of. He's going to do it.
That's right.
But you see, the unfortunate part is that not everybody gets the opportunity for God to stop them in their tracks.
Yeah.
You see, a lot of us have to hit rock bottom.
Absolutely.
For two things. One, for us to realize that God is the rock at the bottom.
Oh, wow. Come on.
And the second thing is that we have to hit rock bottom so that there's nowhere else to look. There's nowhere else for us to look but to up, and that's when we'll find Him. It's like, God, You've been there the whole time. You can run from God, but He's always there.
It's true.
It's crazy. But once you got to move, you got to switch from this God who is a God who sends people to hell. You got to switch your thought from this God who created everything but not you. You got to switch your thinking to this personal God who loves you, who created everything for you, who put people in your life for you to glorify Him or to benefit you. And He loves you so much that He gave His only Son that whoever... come on, all you got to do is believe. And that's it. Yeah. It's like the Father's love that we've always... If you have horrible fathers, I'm sorry. But God is the ultimate Father.
Yeah.
God
is the one who's not... He loves you so much that He says He sends His only Son. It's just, I can always go on and on and on and on forever, but I know that there's people that are out there hurting. I know there's people that are doing all kinds of stuff like drugs and alcohol, prostitution, all that stuff to try and fill the hurt, but all it's doing is making a bigger hole that only God can fill. And I'm telling you, until you find that, until you come to your place where you come to the realization that God is the only answer. There's a story in the Bible. It's called the prodigal son. You probably heard of it. And there's two sons. There's the son that always served God or served his father. But there's another son who's like, give me my inheritance. You give it to me now. Yeah. And you know what inheritance is, right? It's when they die, they get half or whatever you get or whatever. They distribute their goods. Well, he was pretty much saying, Dad, you're dead to me. Just give me my inheritance now. I don't want to wait for you to die. Just give me my inheritance now. Anyways, he squandered his riches, which you kind of fill on whatever you think of what squandered means. If it was here in Las Vegas, he'd probably be at the casinos gambling with all kinds of escorts or whatever you want to call them. But then it says there's a vital part in the story. It says he found himself in this pig pen, like feeding pigs. And he looked at it, he's like, he just wished he could eat the slop that the pigs were eating. And it said this very vital thing happened. It says, when he came to his senses. When he came to his senses, he was like, I just wish I can be back home with my father and just be a servant, because the servants eat better than these pigs. Yeah. And then he started devising a plan to get back to his father. And when he prepared his big sermon or whatever, his big apology to his dad, and while he was still far away out, his dad saw him coming and came out and ran and hugged him. Before he even get a couple words out, his dad said, let's prepare a feast, let's party. And he said, my son who's lost is now found. he was dead and is now alive.
Yeah.
And that's the whole story of God.
Mm.
You know, we squander everything that God gives us, including gifts, including talents, including money, including possessions, including people in our lives.
Yes.
We squander it,
Yes.
screw it all up.
Yeah.
And you have to, at some point, come to your senses
Mm.
and come back to God.
Mm.
I mean, because there's no other way.
Mm.
I mean, you can continue to be in the pig pen, or you can come to your senses.
Mm.
And the pig pen kind of just, it symbolizes all kinds of crap that we put ourselves through. You know, the drug addiction, being slaves to drugs, to alcohol, being slaves to our flesh, or to sex, to anything else we're slaves of. We can continue to sit in the pig pen, or we can come to our senses.
Mm. You know what's amazing? I remember when I was younger, and I'm sure, Robert, you do too, and even Bryson, you. I remember when God used to send people like you around. Remember I used to run from them? Remember that?
You could have won.
Oh my God! I used to
Try to talk your way out of the situation.
Hey, where were you Sunday, man? I thought I see you at church. So I gave you bus money and everything.
I'm sorry, it was my birthday.
Yeah.
I used to run with guys like you, all right?
Yeah.
You did too, Robert?
Well, see, I didn't, like, the first time I ever remember hearing about God was in juvenile hall. And, I grew up real quick, and, I guess we're out of time. I grew up real quick, my parents were drug addicts, and then, the first time I was in juvenile hall, and I just remember everything this person was saying in front of me was just making sense. It was like, all I remember was just a bright light. It was just like, oh, like, I don't know. They looked like angels. Whoever they were leading the Bible study. And so I was like, yeah, this makes sense. But I never really, it was like fishing, you know. I bit for a little bit. I wanted to learn more, but I went back to everything I ever knew. It wasn't until years later, until the last time I went to jail. I was 23 years old. And that's right there where I gave my life over to God. I was done running. I was done fighting. I was saying, God, here's my life. If you can take anything out of this crap that I made, just do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching today. Robert from Bryson Shampoo.
Yeah.
I want tickets, and I mean good tickets. All right. That concert is sold out, and Chris Garcia's representatives call you. I want front row tickets.
Yeah,
Don't put me up in the balcony.
I'll tell you what.
I like to jam out. I like to rock out. I want to be right in front.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
I'll tell you what. When this city goes from Sin City to Risen City, because the Teen Challenges work, I'm speaking that into existence. It's not Sin City. It is Risen City.
That's
Just
the first
as
album.
God is.
Risen City.
That's
the
what it
first
is.
album.
Speaking it into life
That's
right
the
now.
first album right there. Bryson Shampoo, Robert, my good friend.
All right.